Yeah, but I'll play a... I'll play a quick GR140 because it will match my damage to the time stall that you have, right? For example. So I'll just do a 140. Think I have everything that I need this time. This time it's not a joke. Okay, so this is a bad floor, right? So just all right. This is actually good summoning stuff. So use Oculus Ring, right? So what you do here, right, is use this first Oculus Ring, go to the next one, treat our Oculus Ring as waypoints, right? And then you deal the damage from afar. Now I'm using a Fortress, obviously, right? So you can play it like this. When you're playing a Fortress, you can play from mid-range. You don't have to go crazy, like, at all. Just keep playing Oculus Rings. I'm breaking even my time, right? Okay, I got a yellow elite. What is it, though? It's not a Juggernaut. I have enough damage. Um, I have 72 kills. I could try the Ring of Fire, or I can just play the density as though I'm dealing the damage on the elite, but my focus is not the elite. Okay, so I built the Ring of Fire. I think I want to skip the floor, and that was a good decision. Now the bad news is I don't see anything I like to kill. So I might have to burn this Ring of Fire. Okay, so I'm gonna burn this Ring of Fire on this stack of stuff. Because Lakuni Slashers are pretty high value, so I'm gonna let them travel onto the Ring of Fire. That way they get burned. The goal is just to break even. Okay? Use an Oculus Ring to help the Ring of Fire burn them. Okay? Use the Oculus Ring. Okay? And then let's keep moving. I swapped at 145. But it depends on your damage. And also whether you got a good fortress. Because if you don't get a good fortress, it's like you lose damage. So you need a good fortress. Another yellow elite. So I'm getting a lot of yellow elites. I have a 96. Uh-oh. I have to stall my damage. So here, I'm gonna try to like find the blue. I found a blue. Do I have another thing? Do I have another elite? No, I don't have another elite. So I'll just play this. I'll just play this spot with the Ring of Fire. So I stalled my... So I stalled to make a bigger play. And it's illusionist anyway. Which means I can rebuild my kills here. Right? So it didn't die because one of them wasn't in the Ring of Fire. But that's okay. I still have my time lead. I can build a second one. Right? And I saw a second blue anyway. So even better. I saw a second blue. So I'm gonna use this second Ring of Fire for this other blue. So you have to plan out the strategy like this, right? And then I kill the next blue. So now I should get my Pylon soon, right? It's channeling, so it's worthless. My kills are bad now. So I could have been more greedy had I seen further ahead, because this was a blue here. But I am ahead of the timer anyways, right? I'm ahead of the timer, so I can play as greedy as I want now, basically. But I can use Oculus Ring and just burn them. Okay, I'll just burn them. Oculus Ring, killed them. Okay. I don't need the channeling pylon. I'll just get the kills here and move on to the next floor. Oculus ring. Okay. So if you're liking damage, then the fortress will help, but you need a good fortress. So let's go next floor. Floor 3. Huh. Okay, so it's a full-fledged fire shaman. Which is bad news. Because you can stack from the lesser Fallons, the little guys, but you can't get progress from here. So I'm going to use as many Oculus rings as I can and burn this Scorpion Blue because of the Fallen stuff, the Fallen monsters. So I'm going to use this Oculus ring while I'm here and kill this blue. Alright, moving on. I'll play here just for the kills. Use the Oculus ring. Use the Oculus ring. And then I need to move after. Okay, I saw another Oculus ring, so I'll stay for a little bit. Okay, now it's time to move again. Okay, I see a blue. I have 59, 63, 68 kills. 71. My kills are accelerating really quickly. So I guess I'll just stay for this blue while it's here. Right? Even though I probably killed them before it does anything. I'll use this Oculus ring right here on the edge. Killed them. Alright, moving on. I may get a Pylon soon. Speed. So I got the worst Pylons, which is great because it's actually going to show how to gain time yourself. Like, on your own. I mean, this is a random 140 that's weak in Pylons. Okay? So this is a dangerous Oculus ring to use, but I'll use it anyways. Now the biggest problem I have here is that my kills isn't good, right? So since my kills isn't good, I have to go look for more. Okay, so I saw another blue. Okay, which means that I might as well draw them together. Since I'm tanky, I can draw them all together for a big Ring of Fire play. And then I might have to check for the 99% Pylon. This Oculus Ring is a bit dangerous, which that's why I didn't really use it. This one is fine. I think the Ring of Fire is going to spawn. Yep. So I have to pull everything in here. Use this Oculus Ring a little. Keep them inside. Okay. 90% progress. Ah, shoot. The Ring of Fire overkilled that. The Ring of Fire overkilled that. So that play was too much for checking the 99% Pylon, right? So it was a little too much. Yeah, there wasn't anything on the bottom side anyways. But this is where the Pylon the Pylons wasn't even in my favor, which is good. That means it shows like how I play it like on my own. Using more Oculus rings, being, you know, attentive to my Ring of Fire gameplay. I need to move to save time. Okay, and then when you fight the boss, you have to like position your mouse back to the not so many times, but you have to position yourself back, your mouse back to the monster, because you want to maintain your focus ring. Yeah. So that was what? Channeling and speed or something? I don't think I saw any stronger pylons. But I did get like open maps more than likely, except that this open map was fire shamans. So you're gonna like get really hurt. Like I wasn't getting too hurt. I got more hurt on the previous floor, in fact, than this floor. But that's because my fortress shields was okay. Like it's not that big of a shield. It's only 300k, right? But it refreshes. So that's why it's good, right? That's um but when you play Vallas, I played Vallas all the way to GR 144. Yeah. I pushed on the same day. I pushed 141, 142, 143, 144. I think it was like what, second try, something something, second try, one try, second try, or maybe even one shot each one of them, like back to back to back to back. Yeah. So so I might have just done back to back to back. I'm just remembering more of the wizard or something. But basically, that's how you can play your Oculus rings. Use the Oculus rings as waypoints while playing like on the cleaner side. Like the problem with the previous floor and this floor, it was really messy. But because I'm really tanky, right? I mean, I'm using 5 emeralds, right? But my resistance are all above 850. So if your resistance is less than 850, then you cannot use full emeralds. You need to use like 3 and 2, which is what I saw you do, like 2 and 3 or 3 and 2, which is fine. Uh, so that you don't die as often, right? Um, but the more crazy the density is, as Vala's gameplay, you might likely need to do 5 diamonds, because in my armory save, I'm gonna go back to the town soon. Okay, I successfully did the 141 upgrade there. This one, let's see. Nice. Another 141. I'm just randomly upgrading these just to make use of the 140 GR that I just did. Let's go back to the time, but to check the time is actually bad because I was more focused in the Oculus rings and the Ring of Fire stacking, and I stalled one of my Ring of Fires at 98 kills, right? To find actually something that I can actually spend on, which is blues, right? I mean, 140's yellow elite will also get shredded pretty quickly, but I decide to show like how you want to maximize by finding a blue if you can, right? So let's see the time. So that was channeling and speed. With channeling and speed, 930 of a 140 isn't bad, because had I had a conduit somewhere, it would have saved like 2 minutes. Had I gotten a power for the Rift Guardian, if my last Ring of Fire wasn't too crazy, I had like what? Probably like 25% progress on that Ring of Fire. That last Ring of Fire, it was like almost 25%. Something like that. It was like at least 20% because there were 3 elite packs in there. So that's 15% plus. And then I had loads of density on that screen with that Ring of Fire. So like that was almost 10%. So 15 plus whatever, right? But I didn't even need that. I was already at 80%, 80 something percent, 83 or whatever it was, 84%. So all I needed was the 3 elites. And then I was trying to run away, but I was talking, so I didn't, first of all, I didn't zoom straight away, right? And second, the power pylon spawn point might be really far, because and then the RNG might not give me the power because I got channeling and speed, but at least I know that if I wanted my third pylon, it would be any of the stronger ones, right? basically shield, conduit, power, like any of the other three. So I actually overplayed that final ring of fire. Okay, going back to Valla's, right? The save. This is my Valla's save. This is my Valla's, for example. This version. It's been a while since I played the Valla's one, but I'll show it anyway. This is under 600 stats. This is under 900 stats. Okay, so I'm going to stock this up, but before I show that, I have to gamble. Um, Let me go to Act 1. Let me load up the Valla's setup anyways. It's been a long time since I played Valla's already, but that's fine. Okay, so let's do the Valla's might have to play a little differently. So in the Valla play style though, it would basically be the same as my final Ring of Fire, where I was playing loads of monsters, but it also depends on your survivability. Like if you can't survive, that means your Runner of Pain isn't the right version. Like what you really want minimally is the middle bullet point. Like cold damage is one thing, right? Cold skills damage, obviously we want that eventually, just like your elemental trifecta necklace, which in the future you'll also want to get. Oh yeah, a crappy Valas. Yeah, when you get a crappy Vala, it's really hard to go use it, you know. Um, but yeah. So the most important bullet point, really though, especially for being um like helpful while playing with Valas, is the freeze proc bullet point. Yeah, the freeze proc bullet point is really helpful because you freeze things while trying to play dangerously because Valas doesn't have the shield. So in fact, like in the non-soul shard season, right? My favorite thing to do is instead of the 10% damage, right? On here, on this Valas. So whether you're listening or not, it doesn't matter. For anyone watching, the 10% damage here is actually good only for speed GRs or when you have loads of paragons, like way more than me. Like I'm only at 2.7. Even at 2.7, this 10% damage is barely helpful. In fact, at my paragon, it's still better with life per hit instead. Okay, but because this season you have the soul shards, right, in the weapon there's a bullet point that has that what 28.6k life per hit here, up to 30,000, right? So this life per hit is actually very good in Valas because why? Valas doesn't have shields like the Fortress does. Okay, and yes, when you go to up to like 146 plus or something, or even 150 or 148, 149, 150, the Fortress shields would start to feel just like a Vala's anyway. So knowing that if you are playing Valas by any means, let's say, then you generally want life per hit in addition to the life per hit given by the soul shard itself. So you basically double up your life per hit while piercing them. So you can see here your life per hit total here, including the life per hit from your Paragon utilities have, right? So over here, this 8k is so small in comparison, right? But so if since Valas has an additional stat line, so the God DH build arrived way after Vala's Bequest, or at least Vala's Bequest should have existed before the God DH build anyway. So you would actually roll off the strafe damage on a Vala's. Okay. And this season with the Sliver of Terror, you definitely want cooldowns as best you can, as long as your cooldown in solo, right? Either with Enchantress, Prophetic Harmony, or without Prophetic Harmony, you need to reach 37, as close to 37 as you can. Some people can play a little under, but that's because it depends on how much they pull and how much they can survive within the Ring of Fire, like to make sure that the elite stays inside the Ring of Fire, right? Because the Ring of Fire deals most of the damage if you lack damage yourself. So you need to make sure that you have damage reduction from Vengeance uptime to stay, you know, in the hot zone, right? So that's basically it. Uh, I am gonna just go ahead and play the Valas 140 anyways, and then I'm gonna raid out. Okay. So you can just watch it anytime you want. Anyway, if you're listening, yeah. I'm gonna just try to randomly play a Valas thing. I haven't played Valas in a quite a while. This season anyways. After I started using this fortress, but let's go ahead and try out a Valas anyways. I don't think my saves are like bad at all. Uh, since it's Valas, I will play just to be tankier, just to show you that I don't necessarily need the damage from the emeralds. Double dipping with the guardians, I'll use uh lesser damage as well, but by being more tanky. So you can see here that my resistances are like the actual resistances that I actually enjoy by being as close to 1.3k for each of them as much as possible. So it was actually very strange for me personally to be able to play 5 emeralds. In fact, I normally play with 5 diamonds all the time, or at max 3 diamonds and 2 emeralds. That's usually how I play. But let's go ahead and do a 140 Valas real quick. Okay, so I got Hell Rift. Okay, Hell Rift with a yellow to start. So let's do the same thing. I'll use my first Oculus Ring and first density, right? And this is good density for Valas, actually. Now, the yellow elite is not my primary goal. Okay, my primary goal is not the yellow elite, even though it's already 1/4 dead. While I'm playing here, it's getting, like, hit, right? My goal is actually just to play as much of the density as I can and build my kill stacks while maintaining the time, right? So if I think that the yellow elite is not gonna die, then I'm gonna move on. But I think the yellow elite is dying, or at least it's almost dead. So I hope that I have enough Oculus rings to kill this yellow elite. I might not. Okay, this is the like barely, I think. Okay, perfect. See, look at that. Look at that. The Did you see that? I'm gonna pause here. Did you see how that I used as many Oculus rings as I could, right? Yeah, when you get too many yellows, you're doomed. So when I was playing in this whole big density, right? My focus was the density to build the kill streaks, okay, for the first Ring of Fire. So my goal wasn't the yellow elite in here, right? The goal was to use the first density, as I always say, to use your first density or the first best screen of density, or first best screen depending on your build, to build your progress bar, right? So my progress bar is 14% because of that elite as well, but it was like 8%, I think, before the elite. So before the yellow elite. But then I kept watching the yellow elite's health, right? I have a lot of damage, but I still use as many Oculus rings to strike upon the yellow elite. So if you saw there right at the end, right? Right as the last final Oculus ring ended, or right before it actually literally ended, I took out the yellow elite. It was very close. When you get to that point that you have that feeling is when you can guarantee yourself better plays. Is because you know exactly how many Oculus rings you take advantage of in order to kill an elite that you decide to overstay or commit. Okay? So that is the one thing. The other bad news is that I have 89 kills, right? And so my Ring of Fire is actually terrible now. Because this is useless stuff, okay? This is like I'm gonna be wasteful. Okay, so this is a keeps. And it's a Fire Shaman again. So with a Fire Shaman floor, I think I'm gonna skip this. It's a yellow again. So I'm gonna skip this. Because this is like bad. Okay, this is bad. I might accidentally spawn the Ring of Fire actually. Okay, this is a fast keeps. Look at this. That was a good skip. Because it's a full-fledged Fire Shaman, right? It's a full-fledged Fire Shaman. And I know that it's a bad monster type. Now, of course, I could easily rebuild a Ring of Fire stack from the Lesser Fallens, right? The Fire Shaman is not the main goal of that floor, that keeps, but you don't want to play keeps. But it was a floor 2 keeps. And I already gained a good... I'm still at a time... I'm still breaking even, right? I'm still... Like, my hourglass is still just behind my time. My purple bar. So I can sacrifice that floor, right? I can sacrifice that floor to play, okay? And so I'm going to continue with this battlefield, okay? This battlefield is really good. In fact, there's double blue or something, right? So this is perfect for me to play, well, actually triple, 3 elites, I think, in this spot. So I'm going to have to play safe here. I spawned it a little too early. I have to tug. I have to tug them in, okay? I have to tug the elites in here, okay? I have to be very, very careful because I'm not using Fortress. So I have to play everywhere. I killed one. I'm going to use this Oculus Ring. I'm going to use this Oculus Ring. This yellow elite isn't dying. Was there 2 blues or 1 blue? I thought I saw 2 blues. Anyway. Okay, so I have 1 Oculus Ring, right? 2 Oculus Rings. Let's see if how many Oculus Rings I need to kill this yellow elite, okay? So if you get enough Oculus Rings, just use Oculus Rings, okay? Of course, at your damage, you cannot play yellow elites, so you have to skip the yellow elites, okay? I'm gonna play it because I'm getting enough Oculus Rings. Okay, it's dead. And I almost ran out of Oculus Rings. Almost. Okay, I got the conduit. Okay, this one is luckier than the other one. Okay, so here's the other trick to this conduit. Now I have to play greedy. I have to look for stuff up ahead. Okay, when you're pushing, you look for stuff ahead. This is a little too far now. So I guess this conduit is a density conduit. Okay, this is a density conduit, basically. So I'm just gonna play this density conduit. Because it's too far. Oculus Ring right here, and it might spawn my Ring of Fire as well. Okay, I'm gonna tug this blue in here. Okay, nice. I'm gonna keep going. This is known as a density elite, conduit because I'm using it for the density. Most of it anyway. Okay, I got a shield. So I got the Pylon order. Okay, since the Ring of Fire popped up, I'm gonna press the shield right away. I mean, I delayed it already, but you get what I was doing with that. Okay, it's supposed to die soon. Now it's dead. Okay. Burn that spawn point. Okay, I got speed as my follow-up pylon. which is useless, but I have a shield, so I'm gonna play as much as I can here. I'll press the speed anyways, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna skip the Pylon Elite. I don't need the Pylon Elite. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna build my kills here. Okay. And then I'm gonna go find something else, because the Ring of Fire, I would rather use it to burn something else. Okay. There isn't anything. I have a lot of time lead, right? Okay. So I skipped the right thing. Okay. I have a shield. I see two blues here. Two blues here. So now I'm gonna play the Ring of Fire. Well, if I can position them correctly, because they're running everywhere. Okay, so let's spawn the Ring of Fire as soon as I can and try to burn them. Use the Oculus Ring. I think my shield ran out already, so I have to be careful. Are they outside the Ring of Fire? Okay. I mean, I ended up getting the Rift Guardian anyways. So this was a much luckier 140, right? But I played into the Vallas, right, by having a bigger pull than the Fortress. And I'm playing 5 diamonds because I want to be tanky. So if I wanted even more damage, I could have easily played 3 and 2 if I wanted to, or all 5. But if I played all 5, I might have procced, you know, depending on what GR tier number I decide to choose, right? But I just chose a random 140. But I switched from my Fortress to the Vallas. But this one was a lot easier because I had the almost perfect pylon order. Okay? And so if you're weaker, you know, if you're weaker, then you obviously want to do what I did just now. Basically, you build your kill streaks as best you can, and then ignore the yellows. Only fight the yellow elite if you have enough Oculus rings to go with the yellow. Otherwise, you should skip the yellow unless you have a Ring of Fire that you think you can tag along not only the yellow elite, but also at least a blue. If not, you have to play double blue, which is why I saved the Ring of Fire. Like, you know, at the end of the floor here, I had a shield pylon, right? So I didn't need to like kill stuff. I didn't need to like strafe for stacks. Taeguk stacks. So I can just run around and wait. And as soon as I waited, over here there were double blues. So then I just made sure to play the double blue with my 96 kills. I just need to find 4 kills for them. And my conduit was like only what, 2 elites. So at GR 140, 2 elites is like starting to be like the bare minimum. That's why I declared it when I saw when I went ahead to check with the conduit, right? Um, there were not enough elites. But you want a conduit for elites, especially if you lack damage, because you can kill density. Like, I mean, relative to the monster type that isn't like high health, like the big monster types. So like Hulks take a little longer, you know, Punishers take a little longer. Um, Punishers are basically Blood Maw, Rift Guardian looking monster type, right? So when you have no pylons, right, on 3 maps, it's your progression. It's too slow. So God DH is a trash killer. So you see a lot of times when I'm playing, I'm killing trash. I'm killing density. I'm killing density to play the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire is your pylon, basically. Every Ring of Fire is like a pylon. So you don't actually need the pylon up until you're like pushing to where you need to buy the time, or you need help, like that moment, like in that moment wherever it was, right? So let's say I go back onto my previous floor, right? I just want to show like where the position of the conduit is, right? Okay. So on this floor, I had about what 31% or something, right? By the time I reached this floor, I had like 31% or something. So you have much on paper now? No problem, no problem. Yeah, I can say a lot about it, right? But like, so when you see a conduit here, right? And when you see such a big help, so compared to my previous keystone, which I had channeling and speed, right? I didn't need them because they weren't helpful anyway. And I was Fortress, so I have even more damage than Valla's, technically speaking. So I didn't need help. Now, when I do need help, however, with Valla's, I went ahead to look, but I didn't want to go too far because then I would, already waste too much time. But also didn't see any elites, like hardly. Maybe one over here, I think it was, which was way far. So if I'm not gonna come back this way anyway, I might as well take and go, right? Which is what I did. So I just stayed for the yellow elite from the conduit because conduit is strong enough to take down the yellow elite. Um, up until you are pushing at your like highest limit. So when you're pushing at your highest limit, you have to watch out how much time you spend committing to the Pylon elite itself, the Pylon spawned elite from the Nemesis bracers. Okay, if it's a Juggernaut, you want to like kite it or leave the yellow from the elite Pylon. From the elite from the Pylon, you want to ignore it if it's a Juggernaut or even shielding sometimes, unless you decide to kite it. So when I saw that this like alleyway past the conduit by like 2 screens was grotesque and zombies and like whatever else that was, it was basically a density conduit the whole way through, right? Because I'm never coming back this way. So I move forward, I zap as many things, and then I think I had to watch out for my ring of fire or something, but I killed another elite here. And then as soon as I got down here, I saw the shield. It was basically easy game because if you get a shield and you're like, 4 minutes ahead on GR140, it's basically easy game, right? So what the shield was, it was basically kind of useless. I was just trying to like find more stuff. Up until this point, my shield pylon, I want to play more Ring of Fires. So I stall because with the shield, I can kill everything whenever I want. But I may also delay myself because if I don't have enough targets to pierce with the Vallas, then I'm not actually taking advantage of Vallas in the first place. I might as well be playing a Fortress Ballista, right? So if there's nothing to pierce on the map, on the, on in the alleyway, then I'm gonna save my time because shield I can just run around, right? I have a shield, I can just run around, uh, wait for the next best spot to have like 2 blues or maybe triple elite or whatever. So all I did was to use this shield to find something else, and it was a very good skip on the previous floor. In fact, right, because my floor two was keeps. It was actually a short one. In fact, normally when you get a floor two keep, a follow up floor keeps or even a first floor keeps, you might get a large one, right? When you get a large keeps, you get in trouble, you know. So for example, I got a Hell Rift, right? The Hell Rift I fought here. I even took out the yellow elite at the start with as many Oculus rings as I could, right? If not, I would have skipped it. So I got a keeps here, right? It was like what, Fire Shaman keeps or something. So I knew that I don't want to play Fire Shaman anyway, right? So then, since I'm still in like breaking even at the time, right? I can spend the time to ignore them as best I can, ignore them and find the exit. This is one of the smaller versions already, right? I mean, I just kept going wherever I thought I was going to go and find the exit. So I got lucky that I didn't get lost, right? Because uh somebody can get lost in keeps or plague tunnels.